Welcome everyone to another CTC software webinar. My name is Chris Bircher, Director of Technical Services here at CTC, and today we are going to cover a tool from the BIM Project Suite called Sheet Assistant and get you everything you need to know about it. But before we begin, I want to remind everyone to please ask questions. If you're attending the webinar live, I will do my best to answer those as they come in, and we'll certainly make time at the end to answer any remaining questions. And this is also being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel shortly after the presentation has completed. And let's begin. So one of the things that always takes tons of time in Revit projects is setting up your sheets and making sure that you have a nice, clean set of drawings. And when you go from page to page, things are aligned with each other. They look good. Views that should theoretically be in the same position aren't jumping around and, throwing off the look and the feel and making it hard to read. So, and another piece to that is just getting a sheet created and getting views placed on sheets, and that can all take time. Sheet Assistant is tailor-made for doing just that. Creating your sheets, aligning views on the sheets, getting views placed on sheets, and making that a repeatable process. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to show you how Sheet Assistant can do all of that. So for today's presentation, we're going to show you Sheet Assistant, get you familiar with the UI, and show you how to set up a few different alignments on the sheets themselves and kind of how that process works, how to save a template and load it in for a different set of sheets or a different project, how to create new sheets and kind of how that process works. And that kind of covers it. Hard to show all that in a PowerPoint, so we're just going to show you in the app itself. Alrighty, now with Sheet Assistant, part of its workflow is predicated based on sheet setup. So I've got my sheet set up here. This is what this is. I'm going to use this kind of as my air quoted template, right? Oh, I just clicked spreadsheet link. I apologize. Take a Sheet Assistant. It's right here. It's part of the CTC BIM Project Suite, squeezed in between Schedule Excel and Spreadsheet Link. So you can't miss it. And we've got it broken down kind of into two key areas: sheet layouts and sheet setup, new sheets. Okay, that's kind of what the tool gives you here. So over here on the left side is where we specify the view alignment settings. So whatever setup you've got picked, and you can base that off of an existing sheet or just a single view. You kind of have some basic flexibility there. Usually you want to base it off the sheet itself when you're setting this up. So I've got 201B open, so that's what I'm going to select here. Here. And I get the three views visible. I've got my floor plan here, I've got a schedule here, and I've got my notes down here. Or in this case, it's a legend view for my wall type notes. And the way we set this up is like this. With these three views, I want to take this and apply it to a whole bunch of other sheets that I've got open here, just so you can see it, that are not laid out well at all. I purposefully spread everything out and messed it all up just so you can see kind of how this is going to work. So 201B is my gold standard. Everything else is busted. So what we're going to do is set this up to align in a way that makes sense. So floor plans, I like having those linked to the bottom left. So with this main view selected, you you're going to specify your alignment properties. Horizontal is going to be left, vertical will be bottom. There are options to change it, which I will use on the other two views. For my notes down here, I'm going to do bottom right, kind of keep it nice and locked in that corner here. If the view gets bigger, it's going to expand into the sheet. Similar layout with the schedule up top here. I'm going to do top right. Keep that corner tucked in nice and tight. Let it stretch the rest of the way into the sheet. And then if I find out my schedules are too big, then we can, shift some things around and adjust some cell sizes later on. Yeah, so that's the layout. Now, the next piece is applying it to specifying your target. And that's what this target sheets tab is for. So I've got my layout based on 201B. I've picked my alignment corners. Now I pick my targets. So I'm going to do all of the other floor plans that are laid out this way in this case. So 200A, well, not that one, 200B, 201A, all the way down to here. And I'm grabbing these ones because they match 100%. They don't have to 100%, as long as it has a floor plan on it. In this case, it's going to at least align the floor plan. If it doesn't see the schedule or the legend, it'll just skip those effectively. And the way this works then, to get this configuration to apply to these views, is you hit select all and click apply. And if there is ever a sheet or a set of views that you don't want, just come back to your target sheets list here and click on it again, and it will remove it from the list. So you're not stuck having to kind of scratch it and start over. You just get to click it again. So I'm going to click apply. And now what it's doing is it's going to all these sheets and aligning all the views. And it's already done. So I can just pull this off to the side and pull up the next floor plan. Here's 201A. Same setup. 202A, B, 203A, and B, and so on and so forth. I can only get so many views up there, but it did them all. I'll open 203B, same idea, right? So it's that simple. So I see the question, that's the workflow 2. So the question was, can I put views on the sheets? And yes, you can. We're getting there. Now, before I get to that point, though, I want to show you how we can kind of tie this little piece up. If there are other plan sheets and other projects that you would like laid out in this exact same orientation, this same condition, floor plan, schedule, legend, you can save this configuration out to your own kind of template or config file. And I'm going to call this main plan sheets, CTC. And you just go ahead and save it where you need to save it. I've got a little folder back here, put it there. And now I can open up a different project, come here and load my layout configuration. And then it's going to open it. It's going to allow you to see what you're loading. And if that's not the right configuration, you can browse and go grab a different one. Hit select, bring it in, shows you here, and then boom, we continue on picking the plan sheets to align with. Okay, and since I've already done it, I've got nothing left to do. But that's the workflow there. That's kind of the process of getting the view defined in the first place. That's a manual. You personally have to do that. Once you've picked that, you configure it here on your sheet tab, apply it to your target sheets, and then yes, you can save it later on for a future use. You don't have to save it. You can just kind of build it again later if you want. Now, the fun part. Creating new sheets and placing views on these sheets. That's what the new sheet tab is for. So in this case, I need sheets for my ceiling plans. I don't have any ceiling plans in my list yet. Got a bunch of existing and demo, framing, my main floor plans. I don't have any finished plans here either. So, but I'm going to do my RCPs in this case. So I'm going to hit new sheet, pick my title block, there we go, and hit select fields. By default, you get number and name. That's kind of the base requirement for building these in Revit. I can select any other sheet-based property that I need to use for either browser organization or, you know, construction packaging and phasing and anything like that. Or depending on what, if it's 11 by 17 for a certain condition, or 8.5 by 11, or whatever the case may be, you may have different criteria for those sets of sheets. You've got access to those parameters here. So if I were to be sorting this in a certain fashion, I'd want to use my sheet sort order parameter, add it to the list, and populate this how I need it populated. This doesn't really jive very well with the flow of my views, but it's the only ones that are open. So I'm going to do sheet A800, 801, 802, and lastly, I'm just going to do the 4 ceiling plans, 803. And then you name it, RCP level 1, and you just kind of work your way down the list here. Oh, no, I'm going to do not level 1, 0. This is level 1, and level 2, and level 3. And if you've got a specific sort parameter that you use, just fill it in here. So if this was part of your architectural set and you had it set up to be /architectural, just go ahead and type that in, or all. And to save you some hassle, you can copy paste these fields freely, super simple. I don't think I'm actually taking advantage of the sorting right now, but I normally do, so that's why I add it. Hit create, it builds the sheets, okay? Now these sheets are blank. There's nothing on them yet. If I can go to my browser here and pull out these 800 sheets, here they are, RCP 0, 1, 2, 3, they're here. There's nothing on them, right? They're just blank sheets. You get a title block. That's all I told it to do so far. What I get to do here is based off the configuration that I have present, I get to choose which floor plan, which legend, and which schedule is being used for these views, right? Based on, since I've loaded my configuration now, it's based off that plain sheets config that I brought in. So I get to go ahead and define these now. So in this case, because I'm loading it based off configuration, I'm going to specify brand new views. Had I just based it off an existing sheet, I could have duplicated that view to build additional views. So if I didn't have any finished plans and I needed some, I can start with the main floor plan and duplicate that source to call it something else. In this case, like I said, I've already got them. Where are my ceiling plans? I passed right by them. Look at me go. So we'll pick that. For my legend, we are going to pick, down here, got my fixture legend there. And for my schedule, I've got my fixture schedule as well. And it's all down here. No, that one. Okay. That is sheet 1. And now I get to do that to the other 3 remaining sheets. Pick your view for each one. And, if for whatever reason you don't need it, you can skip it, right? So after I put, let's do this. I'm going to put my second level RCP on here. I don't need the legend, so I'm going to skip it. And I'm not going to worry about the schedule, so I'll skip that too. We'll move on. That's 801's done. Now we'll go to 802, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the floor plan and skip the other two, just for the sake of moving quicker and showing you guys how this will work. Oops, I meant to do, oh, I completely screwed myself up. That's okay. I'm picking the wrong order of ceiling plan views. Oh, well, it doesn't exactly coincide with what I named the sheets, but the process is the same. Then skip, and actually, we'll populate this one. We'll grab my legend down here and my schedule here. Now that I've got this set up, there it is. Okay, I've got my 4 sheets picked. I've got the views decided for these 4 sheets, or skipped them if I didn't need them. And now I'm just going to verify that my alignment's good. We got bottom left, top right, bottom right. I can click apply. So now it's going to take the views that I've defined, place them on the sheets, and align them accordingly. Now, I picked full-on overall plans for this. So my 800 sheet and my 804 sheet might look a little tight. Actually don't. That worked out pretty well. But you can see bottom left, top right, bottom right. If we go find the other ones, 801 should only have the plan. It does. 802 only has the plan. 803, put the other 2 views on there. So that is really it. That is Sheet Assistant for you in every way possible. Okay. And it's a relatively new app for those of you who haven't seen a previous webinar on it. It came out last year in 23.1, I think. Maybe it's pretty new tool still. And yeah, so you'll just have to update, and it's a licensed tool. So if you're on if you're only taking advantage of the free tools, your trial may have since expired. And if you're on a previous version, you can update to 24.2 and kind of renew that trial and take a peek at it. And I recommend taking a look at it. As far as options go, there's not really a whole lot here, other than you can pin views on the sheets if you want to really kind of lock that down so that people don't accidentally massage and move things around a little bit, messing up your alignments. You can set up what your default alignment method needs to be. So if you find yourself not using bottom left very often, change it, set it up to something that you're using more frequently. And that's it. And like I said, there's not a lot here. I will add that working with floor plans and or elevations, really slick. Working with details, I'll be perfectly honest with you, it takes a lot more time to set that up, simply because you've got a lot more to work with there. If you're just doing the alignments, it works great. It works great. Some of the setup will still take a little bit of time, but it's an awesome tool. It will benefit you, especially if you've got 10 sheets of details. It will still work. And the time invested to set it up will still be worth every minute of setting that up. So, but yeah, that pretty much sums it up and takes care of the demo for today. I want to say thank you to all for joining. I know this was a short one, but it's a pretty straightforward tool, and it does exactly what you tell it to. So yeah, thank you. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And for those of you going to AU, look forward to seeing you guys there.